The 2026 CX-5 is rolling in with the same clean Mazda styling everybody likes, but once you dig past the looks, some real cracks start showing. The competition leveled up for 2026, and the CX-5 is trying to hang on with gear that's starting to feel stretched thin. Hey guys, it's Luke from CarlandTV, and I'm breaking this down because a lot of shoppers still put the CX-5 at the top of their list, and missing these problems can turn a safe pick into an annoying daily headache. One wrong assumption here can cost you way more than you expect. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now let's get back into it. The CX-5 is aging, while rivals keep moving forward. When I look at the 2026 CX-5, the first thing that jumps out is how old the basic package is. This second-gen CX-5 showed up globally around 2016 and hit a lot of markets in 2017. Then Mazda did a big refresh around 2021 to 2022 instead of a full redesign. By the time you are shopping for it in 2026, you are dealing with a core body, platform, and packaging that are roughly a decade old. The sheet metal still looks clean, and the drive feel is solid. But the bones are not new anymore. No cap. Now stack that against what the rivals are doing. Honda already moved the CR-V to a fresh platform for 2023, with more wheelbase, more rear legroom, stiffer subframes, and updated safety and infotainment. Toyota is rolling out a fully revamped RAV4 for the 2026 model year that goes hybrid only, adds a new software platform, and brings bigger screens and updated driver assist as standard. Hyundai launched the current Tucson on a new chassis for 2022 with segment-first safety tech and big digital displays. And Kia redid the Sportage for 2023 with more space, more tech, and available hybrid and plug-in hybrid versions. Subaru just kicked off an all-new 6th-gen Forester for 2025 with a new platform, more rigidity, and a proper hybrid option. So in 2026, you have this situation where the CX-5 is still riding on its older architecture, while the rest of the class has cycled into newer platforms with updated packaging, hybrids, and fresher tech. Mazda has been putting its big R&D money into newer nameplates like CX-50, CX-70, and CX-90, which tells you where the brand sees its future. The CX-5 still drives nicely, but if you care about long-term relevance and resale, that age starts to matter. And once you talk about age, you have to talk about what Mazda left under the hood, because the engine lineup is where the gap to the newer stuff really starts to show. Engine options still fall behind. Under the hood, Mazda kept the CX-5 on the same basic playbook. You still get two versions of the 2.5-liter four-cylinder. The regular Skyactiv G, rated around 187 horsepower and about 185 to 186 pound-feet of torque, and the 2.5 turbo that can hit roughly 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet if you feed it premium. Both are tied to a 6-speed automatic with all-wheel drive standard in the US. And that setup carries straight into 2025, and realistically into 2026 with only minor tweaks. So you are not getting a new engine family here. You are getting the same hardware Mazda has been selling for years. On paper, the numbers look fine, but the efficiency story is where it falls off. Car and driver and dealer data put the non-turbo CX-5 at roughly 26 mpg city and 31 highway, while the turbo drops to about 22 miles per gallon in the city and 27 miles per gallon on the highway. That is acceptable for a regular gas SUV. But by 2026, your main rivals will be hybrids as standard, or at least have high-volume hybrid trims. A Honda CR-V hybrid sits around 37 to 40 miles per gallon combined, depending on drive layout, with over 600 miles of range on a tank in some tests. Mazda itself is putting a 38 miles per gallon combined hybrid into the CX-50, which tells me they know the tech matters. They just have not brought it to the CX-5. No cap, that makes the CX-5 feel behind on gas bills. Then there is fuel type and long-term stuff. The turbo CX-5 really wants 93 octane to hit the advertised 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet. And while it can run regularly, you give up power doing that. Both engines are direct injection, which is efficient, but that design is known to build carbon on intake valves over high mileage if you never address it. Mazda forums and techs talk about cleaning intervals in the 150 to 200,000 mile range to keep things happy. So you end up with an SUV that drinks more fuel than the hybrids it competes with, may want a premium on the turbo, and might need extra maintenance down the road. Once you factor in those running costs, the CX-5 really needs to win hard on interior space and practicality to stay in the fight. And that is where the next problem shows up. Cabin space and cargo room are tight. And since we just talked about the gas bill, I want to match that with how much real space you are getting, because that trade needs to make sense. On the CX-5, it really does not. Mazda's own specs and independent sheets put cargo space at about 30 to 30.8 cubic feet behind the rear seats and around 59.3 cubic feet with the seats folded and the floor dropped. That was fine a few years back. In 2026, that looks small next to the other stuff on the lot. Look at what you can cross-shop. A Honda CR-V gives you roughly 39.3 cubic feet behind the rear seats and 76.5 cubic feet max, plus about 106 cubic feet of passenger volume. Rear legroom sits right at 41 inches, so adults fit cleanly behind adults. A RAV4 is sitting at around 37.6 cubes behind the second row and 69.8 cubes max. The Hyundai Tucson stretches it even further, with around 41.2 cubic feet with the rear seats up and about 80.3 cubic feet with them down, plus rear legroom of a touch over 41 inches. So, when you load groceries, strollers, luggage, or gear, those rivals simply swallow more. Inside the CX-5, the numbers tell you why it feels tighter. Mazda lists rear legroom at about 39.6 inches, which is not terrible, but it trails the CR-V and Tucson, and the cabin volume as a whole is smaller. If you have tall teens, rear-facing seats, or you carpool a lot, that extra couple of inches in the competitors matters. The cargo floor in the Mazda also sits a bit higher, so lifting heavier stuff in and out can feel more annoying than in the boxier, more squared-off rivals. So when I look at the 2026 CX-5 as a family or daily hauler, you are paying near-class money, burning more fuel than the hybrids, and giving up space at the same time. That leads straight into the next issue, which is how the fuel economy story looks once you compare it directly to those newer hybrid setups. Fuel economy is not that competitive. Fuel economy is where the CX-5 really starts to look old in 2026. Mazda's own numbers for the 2025 CX-5 carry over the same 2.5 gas setup. And with standard all-wheel drive, you are looking at around 26 miles per gallon in the city, 30 miles per gallon on the highway, and 28 miles per gallon combined on the non-turbo in its more efficient trims. The turbo trims drop closer to 22 city, 27 highway, 24 combined. That is fine if you compare it to older gas-only crossovers. Once you line it up against the current hybrid crowd, the gap is obvious. No cap. Check the stuff you are actually cross-shopping. A 2024 CR-V hybrid is rated up to 43 miles per gallon in the city, 36 miles per gallon on the highway, 40 miles per gallon combined in front-wheel drive form, and 40 miles per gallon in the city, 34 miles per gallon on the highway, 37 miles per gallon combined with all-wheel drive. A RAV4 hybrid sits around 41 miles per gallon in the city, 38 miles per gallon on the highway, and 39 miles per gallon combined on most trims. Hyundai's Tucson hybrid is at about 37 miles per gallon combined, which is about 37 miles per gallon in the city and 36 miles per gallon on the highway. So you are talking roughly a 10 to 12 mpg advantage in city driving and around 10 mpg combined for a lot of these rivals. If you stack that over 10 years or 150,000 miles, that is thousands of dollars in fuel. And that is before you factor in that the CX-5 Turbo wants premium to deliver its best power. Day to day, that means two things. First, if you do a lot of stop and go or commuting, the hybrids are saving fuel every time you roll up to a light, while the CX-5 is just idling and burning gas. Second, a bunch of dealers now show estimated monthly fuel costs on window stickers and sites, and the CX-5 often lands noticeably higher than a CR-V hybrid or RAV4 hybrid at the same annual mileage. That is the kind of thing buyers clock fast, especially with gas bouncing around. Mazda clearly understands hybrid tech because they are already putting it into the CX-50 and other models. They just have not given the CX-5 that upgrade. So, you end up with an SUV that drives nicely but costs more to feed in a world where fuel efficiency sells. Once you realize you are paying that extra money, the expectations for the tech and infotainment inside go way up, which is where the next issue shows up. tech, and infotainment are lagging. On the tech side, the CX-5 feels like Mazda tweaked the hardware just enough to keep it marketable, but not enough to match what everyone else is doing in 2026. You still get a 10.2 5-inch Mazda Connect screen, wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a controller knob in the console that runs most of the menus. Touch control only really wakes up for CarPlay and Android Auto, and even that has been a recent change. So, on paper, it checks the boxes, but in day-to-day use, it feels closer to an older setup than a fresh 2026 system, no cap. Now look at what you get if you slide over to a Tucson, CR-V, or RAV4. Hyundai is putting dual 12.3-inch displays in the refreshed 2025 Tucson with a curved panel and proper touchscreen for the whole interface, plus wireless CarPlay and Android Auto standard. Toyota's updated RAV4 runs an 8-inch or 10.5-inch Toyota Audio multimedia system with wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, cloud navigation, and a 12.3-inch digital cluster on higher trims. Honda gives the CR-V a 7 or 9-inch touchscreen with a simpler UI and wireless CarPlay and Android Auto on the bigger screen. Those cabins feel more current when you actually use the systems. The other piece is the control layout. Mazda still leans hard on burying a lot of functions in the screen and rotary menus, while rivals are starting to bring back physical knobs and clearer climate controls around those big touch panels. So, if tech is a big part of why you are upgrading, the CX-5 setup works, but it does not really move the needle compared to newer rivals at the same price. And that price side is the last piece that can trip people up. Because the CX-5 is not cheap anymore, pricing is creeping up. On the money side, the CX-5 stopped being a cheap but nice move a while ago. For 2025, Mazda has the 2.5S starting around $29,050 before destination. Then the trims walk up fast through S Preferred and Premium Plus, and the 2.5 Turbo Signature lands a little over $41,000 before fees. By the time you add destination and a couple of basic options, you are staring at mid-$30,000 to mid-$40,000 pricing on a platform that is basically a decade old. No cap, that is real money. Now line that up with what else is sitting on the same lot. A 2024 CR-V Hybrid Sport starts in the mid-$30,000 range and tops out at a little over $41,000 for the Sport Touring. RAV4 hybrid trims run from low $31,000 for a hybrid LE to around $40,000 for a hybrid limited. And the 2026 RAV4 hybrid-only lineup is landing in the low to mid-$30,000 range to start. Those trucks give you way better fuel economy, fresher platforms, and updated tech at basically the same or slightly higher sticker. From a pure value angle, that is tough for the CX-5 to beat. So the way I look at it, the 2026 CX-5 only makes sense for somebody who specifically wants the Mazda driving feel and is cool trading space, fuel economy, and newer tech to get it. If you just want a solid, efficient, modern small SUV and you do not care about badge or steering feel, the CR-V Hybrid, RAV4 Hybrid, Tucson Hybrid, and even Mazda's own CX-50 Hybrid are just cleaner plays. Bet you will feel that difference in both your monthly payment and your gas bill.